What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Thought Jar. My name is James Benefiel, and I am joined by Adam and Ryan. But you already knew that. How we doing today, fellas?
Doing great. Let's crack this jar open.
Yo.
Keep that in.
Yeah, it's been good, man. It's been. I don't even remember when the last time we got together.
While.
Does anybody actually remember the date?
I think if
It was in April.
It was like a week after the Minecraft movie came out, so it's been a minute.
It was in April, I think.
I think if we had a nickel for every time we opened an episode talking about how long it's been since the last one, we'd have a couple of nickels.
We would
by
have
now.
like 35 cents, I think.
Not like for each episode, but definitely enough to be the majority. How long has it been? It's been a while.
It has
anyway.
been. We've just been busy. You know, we don't do this professionally. We're self-funded, which we need very little funding to get this thing off the ground.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we don't do this for income or what have you. We just do it to have a gay old time.
We do it for the outcome, man.
Not
the
the
outcome is Thought Jar.
That's right. The outcome is Thought Jar.
Thought Jar, baby.
Yeah. So what's been going on, Ryan?
What's
up, man?
Yeah, about the same as you guys. Just been busy.
Yeah.
I actually had some time off this past week, so that's been nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
Went to a fancy restaurant with Anna.
Nice.
We had our anniversary on Tuesday.
Oh
so
yeah,
nice.
the
Oh,
toast
yeah.
pretty
came.
huge.
Congratulations. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been that long, man.
It's been 2 years.
2 years since we were married.
Nice.
So-
Bro.
Dude,
Dang.
so
Cool.
much has changed, man.
Nice, man. Now we got Patrick.
Now we got Patrick.
What about you, James?
I mean, I moved.
Yeah, you did.
Earlier last month. Got out of that tiny little college apartment that girlfriend and I had been living in for. I don't know. I mean, she had lived there for 2, but I lived there for the following year.
Yeah.
Super excited to be out of college housing. Nothing against college housing, but there definitely is.
It feels like college housing.
You could tell that you're living with a bunch of, for the most part, with people who are like in their early 20s.
Yeah.
Because there's not really any etiquette.
Yeah.
For your neighbors,
Like you think there is, or like if you were the neighbor, you would think like, oh, I'm being courteous or I'm having proper etiquette, but you're not.
and it's like,
and
can I really get mad because it's these are people who are, for most of them, experiencing living on their own for the first time, so they're still figuring it out. I mean, there's a difference between like an honest mistake and being obnoxious, but like especially near the end of my residency at that apartment, it was like, damn. Y'all don't know how to act.
Yeah, I actually just had a good conversation with my partner about like learning how to live on your own for the first time and how no one's ever taught how to do it properly, like ever anywhere. For the most part, like some parents are good at explaining how it works, but no, not to my parents' chagrin, but they were not good at explaining like how it works.
And I think the biggest problem with that is that because when your parents first started living on their own, that was, probably about 3 decades ago.
Yep.
How much different was it back then versus now? And what like ultimately the same? It's the same. Life is
Yes.
basic processes don't change very much, but the way in which we conduct them have changed, especially in the last 20 years, have changed so rapidly that like especially if I find this true with my parents, that like only like about 50% of the advice is applicable.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, this doesn't work this way anymore because it's just not the same.
The system
thing.
has changed.
It's
like
different
it's
now.
still so much the same, but it's so different too.
Yeah.
And it's I'm listening and I hear you and I appreciate the advice. It's just that isn't applicable anymore.
Yep.
Like in the least shitty way possible, it's like it doesn't apply because it's so much different now than it was however many years ago.
Especially with the cost of living too. That's definitely probably the main thing that's changed.
Yeah.
But it's just finding a balance. The worst piece of advice on adulting, so to speak, that I ever received in the handful of years that we've been doing it so far is I had a manager tell me once, well, you just gotta fake it till you make it. And I was like, that is awful advice.
Yeah. But it's kind of true.
It is kind of true, but
It's kind of true.
To me, when it was like, well, when you break it down, essentially what she was telling me to do is you just got to put on a brave face every day and act like your problems are getting to you. But I'm like, okay, but my problems are getting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Like they're not going anywhere, and I can still feel the immense pressure they're putting on me. But okay,
You're faking it till you make it, though. That's it. You have to just pretend like you don't have problems, and that the world, you don't matter to the world.
I think everyone is just faking it to a certain degree, but that just goes right back into how everyone navigates adulthood.
I wish I could have a military parade birthday.
Dude, me too, man.
Are you sure you wanted the one that happened yesterday though?
Yeah.
Really? That was an ass parade.
I want a Chinese war parade.
Dude, yes, the North Korean.
I'm not saying like normally America is the first at everything, but not I gotta say for a first time like military for the first military parade in the United States since 1991.
Dang.
Dude, disappointment.
I know.
I was expecting way more.
I know. I was expecting the armored vehicles to at least not squeak.
Yeah.
$45 million, and that's the best they could do.
What is he now? 79 years old. That was what they could only spend $45 million on someone's 79th birthday,
Dude.
not 46.
Why not $1 million for every year? That seems pretty fair.
That makes sense. But anyway, so yeah, there was that. Ryan, what's going on there?
I got a boy here. I got Patrick.
Is this getting in the shot?
Yeah, he is.
Nice.
I'm sure he looks so thrilled to be in your hands.
He loves my lap. Oh, no. Now he's gonna leave.
There it goes.
Okay.
I can't wait to see that in the camera.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good thumbnail right there. That's gonna be the thumbnail.
So what are we talking about today, guys?
Talking about movies.
Talking about movies. If we're going down the list of podcast topics,
we're there.
We have finally hit movies.
We finally hit movies.
Is this episode 8?
Oh, I don't know.
What was the last one?
I honestly.
Last one was Cryptids.
I think it's 7 or 8. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me look. I'll look it up while you guys keep
Yeah.
talking.
Wow. I mean, you get to 5 episodes, you've essentially done 100, right?
Yeah,
For real. I mean,
time's just flown by. Look at us. We started at the bottom. Now we're here.
Slightly above the bottom.
Yeah, our bar is very low to start, so we're not.
But it's the journey, man.
Yeah,
the outcome.
That's what it is.
The outcome.
But yeah, we're talking about movies today. We're not ranking any favorite movies. We're just talking about what they are, aside from being cinematic masterpieces, like Where the Red Fern Grows and Dune Part 2. We're talking about what they represent to people. We're trying to figure out what they represent to people, because film is so much more than just something you go and watch. It can be anything from a bonding moment for a family when you're young. It can be something that you experience as a teenager that you recognize later in life really helped shape you or form your personality in strange ways sometimes, but they're a lot more than just something you watch on a screen.
And I think if you grow up going to the movies, or not even if you grow up going to the movies, I think that movies are truly timeless, or the act of going to the movies is timeless, because there is, for all intents and purposes, there's nothing really stopping you from going to the movies. Mm-hmm. There are movies for every audience, for every age group, for every demographic, so to speak. But at the end of the day, anyone can watch a movie.
Yeah, something about a movie theater too is truly timeless. Like when I think about movie theaters, I think about like 90s like Memphis style, like super bright. Do you guys know what Memphis style like art and like decor is? I think that's what it's called. Memphis style. It's like when you think of like a Chuck E. Cheese in the 90s, where it's like super brightly colored, or like those weird cups with like they're called something.
The teal and the purple.
Yes. Movie theaters, I feel like, to me, will always look like that, even if they don't, because when I was a kid, that's what I saw in like in like trailers and stuff like that, or advertisements for movie theaters. It always looked like that, and so I associate that with movie theaters, even if it's not accurate to today's standards, which all the movie theaters in our area do not look like that. No. But it just feels like comforting and happy and childlike, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the movies. I saw 2 weeks ago, I saw Friendship in theaters, the Tim Robinson movie. How was it? It was awesome. I was in an empty theater with my girlfriend. Dang. It was awesome. And I was like, oh, why is there nobody else here? But it was kind of sad, and it did feel very liminal. It was weird.
And going, especially for movie theaters, especially in a post-COVID world, there was a while there when I thought movie theaters weren't going to make it.
Oh, same, yeah. 100%.
Like everything's just going to go straight to streaming.
Yep.
Or they'll do like viewing events where it's like, all right, pay $15 and your household can get it. Mm-hmm. So I am happy that movie theaters are making a comeback. And I remember, I think the first real movie I saw after the whole COVID nonsense where I saw a packed theater was Barbie.
Yeah,
Everyone there was wearing pink. I remember I walked into the theater and that like wave of stress when you see there are a lot of people. So it's like, oh shit, am I gonna be able to get to my seat without bothering anybody? Thankfully for the movie, I had bought tickets that were on an end, so crisis averted.
Yeah.
But I walked in and I was like, it's really good to see all these people in a movie theater.
I think Barbenheimer was a pretty big cultural
It was.
phenomenon at the
It was.
time.
I think-
it was just like it got everybody back, you know.
Even if it was for the meme, it really honestly, you could probably pinpoint that as the moment when like movies were back on the uptick.
Yeah.
But that especially in my adult life, I was like, all right, I want to go to this movie with my girlfriend. We're gonna go, and then just walking in and seeing all those people, I was like, okay, the movie theater experience is still very much alive and well.
Definitely. I think the first major movie theater experience that I ever had, and I think I'm trying to think if there's any other ones aside from what I'm about to say, but I don't think there are, and I think you guys will agree with me on this, was when I think we all saw it together when we saw Infinity War.
I was not there, but there was a big group that
Okay,
went.
did you were there?
I probably was.
I think so. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, but that was cool. But I will say, I think aside from that, when we saw like the new trilogy, the new Star Wars trilogy, that was good. But then Endgame was like that was a cultural phenomenon for people.
That was what Jaws was in like in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's not right at all. Jaws came out a lot earlier than that. But
like
70s, I
Star
think.
Wars or like just a very big franchise
Yes.
coming to its conclusion, you know. It's something people have been waiting for over like how many movies did they make? Like 16?
think it was
up
20
to Endgame.
I think up
Yeah.
to Endgame it was 22.
That's crazy.
22 movies.
So somewhere like that.
Ugh.
So and I mean
And now they have like even like over
35
Yeah.
and TV shows, and I mean, and that's movie or entertainment culture today is
Yeah.
that everything is so engrossed in the, well, how much money was this gonna make us? So it's like, okay, this character or this IP or setting or anything. All right, if we make something in this setting, we can pull this character and put them in this setting, and then give them 8 episodes in a season. And if people like that enough and watch it, we'll make a second season.
Yeah, definitely.
Andor. I'm sorry. Listen, Rogue One was fantastic, and Andor has been fantastic as a series as well. But I think the question of who asked for this was very well warranted when it was first announced.
Yeah.
Like, why are they making an Andor series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This character that appeared in one movie, and then spoiler alert for I don't know how old Rogue One is at this point,
It's
but
pretty old.
6 or 7 years.
upwards of a decade at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, spoiler alert, he dies at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, let's take him and make a series out of it. And, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And then, oh, this is actually really good. And it turns out when you're not just focused on producing money grabbing bullshit,
It's all cash grabs. Cash
you
grabs.
can actually make a decent project.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's how, like, I don't want to turn this into like a Marvel roundtable, but I think that there's a lot to be said about Marvel because it is truly it has been so influential for people. I would even say kids as young as like 17 or 18 because they were like kids when that came out. I was like 8 or 9 when the first Marvel movie came out.
So if you want to talk about how Hulk or Iron Man, I think they came out in the same year. It was 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were 7 and 8.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, we don't want to spend too much time. We don't want to make this just a Marvel episode.
But it's
because-
important to talk about because.
But that is our cultural phenomenon. I think is that
We grew up with that.
That we grew as the MCU grew, and I remember when they first were announcing, like, oh, it's good. We're going to do 3 shows. We're going to do Loki, WandaVision, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
That was a Netflix property.
Oh, okay, right.
That and the Punisher, but it was like, oh my god, they're really just expanding this universe. And then the last couple of years there was that intense dip in quality because they were so focused on
making money.
It just became oversaturated, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just like they didn't spend time to create actual stories.
no.
It was just money.
It's like what concepts can we pull from the comics, shittily put on the screen, and then be like, oh look, there's character you like.
Yeah.
So, money.
Yes. Well,
It shows us, Marvel has 2 sides of the coin.
there
Disney
are
does.
intentions.
Yeah,
for sure.
They had a really good, franchise that they built, and then they tried to profit off of it after they.
Well, they tried. They reached a little too far.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
I will say though, Thunderbolts was very good.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it was. Good.
I highly recommend it. In terms of a Marvel movie, I think it's back to the standard that it was like
Really?
like mid 2010s.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it's definitely the best one they've had in like,
Really?
the last 5 years.
You think so?
I think so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Outside of, I haven't seen it, but I imagine Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was.
Have
pretty
you
good.
seen it, Ryan?
I have not.
You saw the new Captain America though, right?
No.
Okay, I haven't seen that one either.
I
so
haven't.
good.
I haven't seen a lot of the new Marvel movies just because I've not been as interested.
I've been going because my partner is a very big
Yeah.
Bucky Barnes fan.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
And Sam Wilson fan. So
From what I've heard that I don't really know how it's like, and this goes along with the whole, I wouldn't say like cash grab idea, but you have all of these different branches that you're trying to make sense of on the same tree. Like, I understand the concept of Captain America, Brave New World. Like, I get that President Ross is Red Hulk. I don't know how that happens, but I also understand that like Thunderbolts is talking about. Sorry. Sorry. I also understand that Thunderbolts is kind of talking about him, right? Like President Ross is like.
So his nickname is Thunderbolt. I'm not a huge comic book person, so
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do know that Ross Thunderbolt, or not
Is that
Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, and then the team Thunderbolts are their separate entities.
Oh, they're different.
To my knowledge, he's the Red Hulk, and the Thunderbolts has been their like anti-hero team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is not in the movie Thunderbolts.
He is not.
He's not. Okay.
He's
All
not.
right.
He has. They mention him very briefly in terms of like well, when this happened months ago or whatever,
Okay.
because I think what they're trying to establish is a core group that they can make movies out of, and then also go across the universe to where other established characters have
See,
been.
that's just like way too much back and forth for me though. What I liked about like Gen 3 Marvel when they started with Iron Man or in 2008, that it was so simple.
Yeah.
It was so simple. Like it ended up building. There was a lot of build up, right? And then you're like, oh, now this all makes sense. But there wasn't so much focus on saying like, oh, we need to constantly keep pulling back to this character. We'll pull back to this character.
Yeah.
Like there were constant references to the other movies.
Oversaturation of crossovers.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of oversight, but now that there's a ton of oversight and like, oh, we have so much that we can pull back from the old movies and from the movies that are coming up and from the shows.
Yeah.
Like, I like that, but the filmography in this universe feels very messy. I'm excited to see it though because I have heard good reviews about it, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So I need to get on that.
And especially considering that the majority of the Thunderbolts themselves, or the characters they're pulling for this movie, are characters from the last couple of phases of the MCU that were unpopular or just flat out disliked. Like you've got Taskmaster from and like the Red Guardian and Florence Pugh's character, whose name is just escaping me. Those are all coming from the Black Widow movie that came out.
Never saw it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because there was at the time no interest.
Yeah.
But to me, it's taking those characters that are good conceptually, and the actors and actresses who play them are doing a good job with what they were given. It's finally giving them a chance to actually like be characters.
Nice.
And have instead of feeling like, oh, here's comic book character and movie, give us money. It's here's this character from the movie that we kind of just left alone for the last 5 years, and now we're giving them another purpose, and now they have an actual concrete reason to be in this universe, other than just they were related to this other character that died 6 movies ago.
You know what franchises I feel like have been doing a really good job at the revival thing? I mean, Marvel's not really reviving anything. Well, they kind of are in that sense. I think the Kaiju series that have been coming out in the last 10 years have been really good. I also think that the Planet of the Apes series that have been coming out, I don't know if you saw the new one that came out last year. It was so good.
I haven't seen any of them, but
Oh, you're the bald monkey? Yeah, okay.
I've been trying to convince Anna to watch them, and she will not.
The Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, she
Dude, they're
does
so
not.
good.
I haven't seen a single one, but Bree was watching them while I was at the brewery, and she was just like, "Yeah, these movies are fantastic."
They're getting good, and they've already had another one slated to come out, I think, in 2027. That's also, I think, the same year that the next Kaiju movie is going to come out, the next King Kong movie. King Kong and Godzilla, whatever. But yeah, I love that because I grew up having all kinds of action figures of Kaijus. And I'm so glad that they're finally starting to really get into that universe because it's super cool.
Yeah.
This is King Ghidorah. He has 3 heads.
This
He's
is
a dragon.
I used to be like that. I used to play with. This is kind of embarrassing, but I used to play with these. I was like, I just used to play with them together, and I was like,
Just making them screech. Just
yeah, that's what I used to.
yeah.
do.
But I mean, there's no shame in that. We all did it. I had Spider-Man action figures. I'd be like, whoa.
Yes.
I used to do that too, man. I used to have multi-universe crossovers with Spider-Man fighting Godzilla.
Dude, and when you know, X character comes back when we thought they died like 6 days ago, and it's like actually
6 real days ago.
Actually, they survived and they're here to kick your ass,
Yes.
Godzilla.
Yep.
You know, so watch out.
100%. Yeah, but those movie series are doing a really good job. Planet of the Apes is probably one of my more liked movie series that I've seen recently. There just haven't been a ton of super good like action, like sci-fi, not high fantasy, but fantasy movie series that have come out. You know,
And I think something that has detracted from movies, especially in the last couple of years, is the rise of streaming.
yes.
I mean, obviously,
completely.
you can't talk about movies today in the environment, I guess, that we're in, where how long is it until a movie, you know, if a movie has a theatrical release, how long until it's just put on stream?
Dude, 100%. That's what I was just talking about this the other day. I was like, oh, maybe I should go see Thunderbolts in theaters. Is it still in theaters?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I'll just wait until it's on Disney Plus. You know, but you're so right.
I get it. And then that just feeds back into the blockbuster and going to the movie theater idea and stuff like that. I am super good, not to circle back to the MCU, but I am super excited about the Fantastic Four movie.
So am I. Comes out in like a month.
The Thing is my favorite Marvel character. I love him so much.
They've got a good lineup of people for those roles too.
And they, no spoilers, but they've there was a mention of X characters in Thunderbolts.
Oh, like mutants?
Fantastic Four specifically.
Oh, okay.
Of like, oh, da 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 da, and it's like you see a certain thing happen, and it's like,
Oh, that's cool.
no way. So, I honestly, I'm just because you talk about the Fantastic Four as a franchise cinematically. You have the one from the early 2000s that had Chris Evans
Yep.
and
Whoever played
Jessica Alba. I want to say was Invisible Girl.
was
I
she?
don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember who played Richard Reed.
Reed Richards.
Reed Richards. Come on. Amateur. Oh my God. Cut it.
It's
Cut it.
It's weird. It's Reed Richards, Sue Storm, who becomes
Johnny Blaze.
Sue Richards because her and Mr. Fantastic get married, and then Johnny Storm, and he's the Human Torch, and then you got Ben Grimm. And
Wait.
he's the
Wait.
Thing.
Oh, are Johnny Storm and are they
Johnny
siblings?
Storm and Sue Storm are siblings. Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Well, that's why they're Marvel's first family is because they're the team. You know, they went up. They got radio wave nonsense. Come back down. They get superpowers. Yada yada. Sue and Reed Richards get married. They have kids. The kids have superpowers. But you know, ever since their conception, they've been a family in one way or another.
Okay.
Which is another reason why I
Wow,
love
I don't know as much as I thought I did.
the
That's
Fantastic
crazy.
Four. So I fucking love the Fantastic
I thought they were
Four.
the first like Marvel group, or was that Watchmen? No, it's DC. Watchmen's DC.
I don't know about-
I'm reading that comic right now, so I should know that.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what the first family tagline, how far that goes in terms of like the lore, but I do know that you know, prominent since like the 60s or you know, even before that.
Okay.
Cuz I don't know, I love the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You're telling me you weren't 6 years old yelling "Flame on" in your backyard, whipping a ball at your buddy or something?
I did have Fantastic Four action figures too. I probably have so many of these left, and I would love to go see if I can find them wherever they may lay.
Also, the Silver Surfer in that 2008 movie or
He's cool.
whatever,
He's cool as hell,
super
man.
cool. I was scared of the
He
Silver
was cool.
Surfer.
He was scary. He was scary in that movie. That's when CGI was really starting to take off too, because that was right. When was that? 2007.
It's got to be.
It was like right before Michael Bay's Transformer, or it was like the same year. And that movie, cinematic masterpiece. Sorry, forgot to totally mention the Michael Bay Transformer series.
The Transformers series is fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Not the Mark Wahlberg ones. They're
No.
good. They're good movies,
No.
but those first, I want to say 3 with Shia
oh
LaBeouf.
yeah, oh yeah.
Revenge of the Fallen, The Dark Moon,
Yep.
and the
Dark-
first Transformers.
Yes,
yeah.
Dark
I think
Moon.
those are after that. It kind of
It did fall off
It
because
did.
one came out last year or like the year before.
Yeah.
And yeah, did
Well,
you
I
know-
mean, there was Transformers 1, which is the animated one.
no, there was another one that came
There was
out.
another Bayverse one?
I don't know if it was Michael Bay, but yeah.
'Cause I know there was the, either they were including the animal Transformers.
It was like something about like it was like the
Rise of the Beasts or something.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Rise of the Silver Surfer did come out in 2007.
So I think that was the same year as the Michael Bay Transformer.
Yeah.
I think that came out in
So
2007.
CGI, like, there's another thing, talk about movies when we were growing up, how CGI became so impressive and then it became the mainstay.
Dude, and you
Yeah.
remember? I remember when these movies came out, like the James Cameron Avatar, that came out in 2008 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
That like 3-year gap of movies, CGI took off exponentially. And I remember seeing these movies in theaters because I saw that movie in theaters,
Yeah.
the James Cameron Avatar, and I was blown away. I was amazed. I was like, whoa! I've never seen a movie of this caliber with this level of depth and clarity to characters and story progression. And now they're just cranking those movies out.
And just think about like 30 years ago when they released Jurassic Park, like
Yeah.
what people were thinking at that time.
Yes.
Like they were probably blown away as
Because
well.
I think that movie came out in 1991.
Yeah. One or
It was early 90s,
I
I,
don't
think.
know.
Look it up.
But that movie was like crazy groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think the third one came out in early 2000s.
And I mean, and with any franchise, I think there was fatigue, and they, because I think I think they were all book series first, right?
I don't know.
Which one?
The Jurassic Park series?
Jurassic Park?
Pretty sure they were either it was a movie and then they made books that went along with the movies, or it was a book and then they made.
I
the
would
movie.
believe that it was a book. That sounds right. And actually, I think that is right.
I do know there's a novelization at this point. I don't know if it came from the movie or if it was first. I don't know, but I do know that there's a book counterpart.
I was obsessed with that movie series when I was
Yeah.
a kid, though.
It was a science fiction novel written by Michael Crichton.
Ooh.
When did
1990.
so the book came out in 1990?
Yeah, and the movie came out in 93.
Oh,
So,
Yeah, okay.
I don't know my dinosaurs.
No, dude, I was obsessed with dinosaurs when I was a kid, so I loved that movie. That was like my favorite movie series growing up as a kid, and I think that was also I can't think of many movies prior to that had really good CGI, because even for that being early 90s, that was good. That was good CGI.
what was it? Tron. What was when did the original Tron movie come out?
I don't
Because
know.
that had like a lot of like special effects, and it did not.
70s.
It does not live up to.
No, it's a
It's
potentially 60-year-old movie at this
Yeah.
point. I think not 60, but it's getting up there.
Yeah.
very,
because-
1982. So
Okay.
That would be like 44, 43
Yeah.
years.
Oh, 40
something like
years.
that.
The Terminator series, when that one came out in the 80s,
Yeah, Terminator.
that had some pretty decent CGI. It wasn't great, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
And anything at this point that we've been so spoiled and so on and so forth that of course it looks like shit by today's standard, because
Yeah.
but that's just another thing of like, the technology is constantly improving, so of
Oh,
course
yeah.
it's going to look better and better.
Exactly.
what was the first CGI movie? Like, what was the first movie with like really good CGI?
The first CGI movie.
I
It was
would
the
love,
first use of CGI.
I would love to know what it was, and I bet it was way earlier than
It's going to be some nonsense movie we've never heard of.
probably.
The first feature-length film was Toy Story.
Oh, well. Yeah,
I'm trying to-
that's all
That
that's
makes
all
sense.
computer generated.
Yeah.
Toy
Yeah.
Story.
Is what I think they were
Like
thinking by
CGI
that.
effects in a live action movie.
Toy Story was the first fully CGI feature. Other films like Westworld and Tron
Okay.
incorporated CGI for specific scenes. So
Okay, nice.
Westworld came out in 1973.
So yeah, as early as the 70s.
Yeah, wow. Dang, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But
Almost 60 years ago.
And I think the best part, or one of the quirks of CGI, is that no matter how far technology gets, there's still the potential for it to look like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Thor: Love and Thunder, I don't know if either of you saw that.
Yeah, I
But
did. I loved it.
I liked it.
I loved it.
You
It's
see it in
just like
theaters?
Yes, I did. I think so. Maybe.
do you remember the shitty CGI of Heimdall's son?
Yeah, Heimdall's son looked
Like
really
appearing,
bad, bro.
yeah, because they're
you
on Earth.
gotta clip this in the podcast.
Yeah.
They're on Earth, and it's just this. He's like, hold on, I'm getting a vision or whatever, and it's Heimdall's son. Yeah, that's what it looked like.
I do remember that
It
because
looked
that-
awful.
It was really bad.
and it was like, yeah, the studios are overworking us because we literally don't have time to make these look good.
these movies.
Oh, was that a statement that one of the visual
mean,
artists put
I think
out?
it was unofficial, but it's still
well
circulated.
known that they are overworked to all those visual
Really?
effects artists. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's why for
insane.
like the last 5 years there's been such a disconnect in the quality of Marvel movies, is
Yeah.
because if and all of it is, or most of it is computer generated at this point, is that there's not enough time for it to look as good as like the Avatar movies.
Yeah.
So
Because James Cameron put in, I mean, how long between the first one and the second one? 18 years?
Yeah.
But granted, some people speculate that he had a lot of these movies on back order because there's already another one that's coming out next year, the year after.
Yeah.
the fire people or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it was, the Avatar, Way of Water, and then
Yes.
the next one's fire. I'll be, I don't know if this is controversial or not. I think the Avatar movies look fantastic. I think the first one was a very good movie. The second one was
Did you see it?
kind of average.
I didn't see
It
it.
was a long PS4 cutscene, dude.
Really?
It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
It was fantastically.
Was it kind of dry?
The acting is not the best. Like the main people, like the main character, what's his name?
I don't even know his name.
forgot.
I know who-
Jake Sully.
Jake Sully.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him as a character because he's like, oh, I'm a human and now I'm part of this tribe now or whatever.
I'll be honest. It's not some very strong child performances.
Yeah, the one kid who has like the mask on the whole time because he's a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he lives along with
pretty
the,
weak performance.
Yeah, he had a pretty rough one,
And I don't think-
I didn't like him.
I
as a
don't-
character. He took me out of it.
I don't
for
Really?
sure.
I don't think it's attributed to the performance. I think because so much time was spent on the world building and
on the
how
on the
it
design
looked,
of the characters
that it really suffered in the scripts department.
and also everything around you was like CGI pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of like practical stuff that they used, but like just having him next to like a big blue person, it just looked so.
Next to this huge, like
Jarring.
9 foot tall Navi person.
Yeah.
Was it just kind of.
It took you out of it a little bit.
Because he's one of the only humans in the movie for
Yeah, that
the
spends
majority of the
time
movie.
that spends time with the
Does it take place
characters.
after the first one?
yes.
Okay.
So quick synopsis: Jake Sully and Natiri getting it on. They have a bunch of kids. What's her nuts? Alien chick from Alien.
Chick from
Sigourney
Alien. Yeah,
Sigourney
Weaver.
Weaver,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's,
yeah,
let's,
I forget she's in that too.
let's reduce her to Alien chick. Anyway, her avatar body gets pregnant somehow. Literally, they're like, yeah, we don't know how, but it's pregnant. So the spirit of the world or whatever. I don't remember what it's called, but it's
world
like, yeah.
She's about to have a big blue baby.
Well, yeah, she has a big blue baby, and it's like it's a Jesus Christ parallel because it's like this. It can commune with the nature without plugging its hair in or whatever. I don't know. It's really dumb.
Okay.
It's stuff like
My-
that, but just like an hour and a half of like, whoa, plot point, and they do it, and it's like, whoa, plot point.
My favorite part, and you'll know it if you watch the movie, is when he goes inside the whale. That is like the best part of the movie, I think.
Really?
Yeah, he just like goes inside the whale and it starts glowing or whatever. Do you remember that part?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
There is a part where a guy just gets fucking torn in two by like that harpoon cable.
Yeah.
That part was epic.
Yeah.
Really?
All the action scenes looked great.
I think
Okay.
all the
That's what I heard. I
all
heard the
the
action scenes were
underwater
awesome.
scenes were really really cool and colorful. Like
Do you feel like there
fun.
is potential because the first one, I knew they were going to make a second one. They had been teasing it for years, and I'm really glad they finally started to actually schedule and release the new movies. Do you think there's potential for it to kind of like swing back around to something really good?
I don't know.
I think
I mean they have all these movies slated to
They do.
release.
They already have
so-
them like done,
And people are gonna eat them up.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I know people.
I think the James Cameron Avatar is the highest grossing movie of all time.
It's up there.
Yeah, I think so.
But I had people be like, dude, I could watch that movie every day for the rest of my life. I was like, you have 3 hours to sit down and watch that. Like, it's not. But for all intents and purposes, it is not a bad movie.
No, it's a feat.
And also, I'm putting my opinion on the internet, so obviously it doesn't matter. But it's like a C plus B minus of a movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks super good, but the movie itself is just okay, cool. You see it once, you don't need to see it
Story's
again.
probably like 5-6 out of 10.
I think it's so crazy. Circling back to just talking about movies in general. With this being said, how many crazy groundbreaking movies have come out in the last 20 years? Just the last 20 years alone.
Yeah.
So that movie, the Transformers series, Planet of the Apes, the Kaiju movies, Marvel, the DC movies have been, I think they've been good. But there's just been so many fantastic films
Yeah.
that have really distorted our lens for better and worse on what movies are, like our bar for where movies should be and where they can go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy because like 40 years ago, movies were like Friday the 13th is like the craziest thing that's ever come out. Or yeah, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, dude, in the first Halloween, he stabs a guy into the wall and
Yeah.
hangs there.
Those practical effects were like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Like horror, especially. Like, I mean, you look at The Exorcist, which is like at the time was like, dude, this is the scariest
Scary.
movie
Yep.
ever.
But now you're just like,
And I watched it 2 years ago with Brie, and I was like, this movie's a snooze fest.
It
yeah,
sucks.
yeah,
I personally, I think in modernity terms, it kind of sucks.
Once again, we have that lens
Yeah.
because
That's
we
a
live,
cold take. I know that's going to be a hot
we,
take.
we live in, you know, we have the context in which we live. It's different because we have all these
yeah,
movies that have pushed the boundary of what we think is terrifying.
exactly.
I mean,
For
the
sure.
people thought The Birds was the scariest movie ever.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah. The Alfred Hitchcock one, not the other one.
Yeah.
That John Tron
The
covered.
the wait,
The Bird People or
The
whatever.
bird
I
people,
don't know.
like
Yeah.
the yeah,
or like Zombie by Fulci.
yeah.
Fulci's Zombie. That movie was like,
Well, you could even like.
Isn't
talk
that the
about-
first one with like they coined the term zombie?
yeah,
Because
I think so.
Night of the Living Dead, it wasn't zombies; they were just the undead.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
I think so. I wonder where he decided to like make that term up from.
it's Italian, isn't it?
Is it?
I'm pretty sure the guy.
Because Fulci's Italian, I think. Like,
pretty
he
sure
was
it's-
an Italian director.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna.
Neither am I.
definitively say
A
it,
lot of the things we say on here, we're never 100% sure.
but- yeah.
super reputable.
Can we
incredible
get
people.
some thought jar fact checkers?
Thought jar fact.
For real? I wish we had AI over this video.
Yeah.
Dude, AI kills.
I mean, you
creatives.
you could talk about AI
man.
too, how it's influenced films because like
True.
the
Oh
writer's
my
strike
gosh.
past year or whatever is just like
Dude, with
You
art
know,
in general.
that's
fucking Adrian Brody winning Best Actor.
Yeah.
When it came out that they used AI to help generate his accent for the
What movie?
it was the I don't.
Oh, the
remember.
Hurt Locker? No, the
I-
Professional. The
He's not like it's not the pianist because
No,
that's
'cause
the
that's the first time
that's the
he won
first
an
time
Oscar.
he
Yeah,
won.
that one was well deserved.
the
because that movie-
Brutalist.
The Brutalist.
That came out last year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
did.
so
He won the
you've
Oscar.
got Timothy Chalamet who dropped a bunch of weight, played the guitar, got voice lessons to act like Bob Dylan. You've got Sebastian Stan who put weight on, and eat, breathe,
That boy needed to
sleep.
eat a cheeseburger. He needed it.
Dude, who had to just essentially nail Donald Trump for an entire movie for The Apprentice.
I forgot that movie came out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's kind of an unfortunate time for it to come out, but I digress. These actors who really, really earned it, and then it was like, oh, by the way, Adrian Brody won the best performance.
Yeah. Which is so stark from the previous year because Brendan Fraser for sure deserved the Oscar.
Oh, with the
Yeah.
whale?
Yeah, with the whale.
Oh, dude.
And like him just coming back to Hollywood, you know.
I just want to say, I know we're not doing tops, but that movie has to be one of my favorite movies of all time.
Heck
I
yeah.
can't watch it.
Some people think it sucks. You can't watch it.
No.
Yeah, I get it. It's
it's
a very
tough
hard
watch.
watch.
Tough
It's a hard
watch.
watch.
Yeah.
It's a very sad, like emotional, like if you've ever had issues with a parent, like it's hard.
Also, Amelia Perez won like
Man.
3 or 4 Oscars for. I want to say best song and like best
when
performance.
it's
Like
going
this,
up against Wicked. Like
it's like this performance. This
What movie was that from? Amelia Perez's.
Amelia Perez is the movie.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the movie.
That's the
Yeah.
name of the movie.
I've never. What?
Yeah, well, it won a lot of Oscars and it made a lot of people unhappy. So.
Really?
A movie that did well last year that 100% deserved it. Nora.
Nora, yeah, I
That-
watched that. That movie's amazing.
That had
Was
a
it?
lot of wins.
I'm
She
so
won Best
out of date
Actress.
with modern movies. I need to watch more.
Yeah, that's an amazing movie. High
Also,
film.
also at this point, not to be pretentious, but I think the Academy is kind of so far it's up its own up its own ass that
Yeah,
it's like
they're all in their own little elite bubble up there. So
Yeah.
with any award show at this point. So
Exactly.
It's, how you take an Oscar. Well, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Take an Oscar with a grain of salt. I don't know, and everyone's always going to have their own opinion.
Well, that's a great
Yeah.
point. I mean, there's so many good indie films that deserve so much more recognition than they get. Just because they're indie films, they're not AAA
Yeah.
AAA titles as far as movies go, or whatever.
I think blockbusters that get snubbed at the Oscars all the time, specifically in the horror and the comedy genres. I think they are written off because of
Especially lately, like comedies were really pop at the height. I would say in the early 2000s, but
like just either get to them more in like put them in the categories more, or just make your own category for them.
exactly.
Make a best horror feature, best comedy feature. You had Nosferatu, who got nominated for set design, costuming, sound design.
Yep.
And I thought I could get all three of them. Didn't get a single one.
Yeah.
I thought Nosferatu was good.
Nice.
I thought it was good.
I agree.
I thought it was
I did not
just
see it.
good.
I like the style.
I liked his wiener.
Nice.
dude.
Who, Willem Dafoe's wiener?
You don't see Willem Dafoe's.
No,
You see his Nosferatu.
Bill
Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård's
Skarsgård.
wiener.
And they let what's his nuts keep it.
I actually didn't see it. I missed it completely because I was talking to my partner while we were watching.
You were talking to your partner in one of the best jump scares in the movie.
No, this fucking sausage, man.
His decrepit little Nosferatu.
Nosferatu?
Yeah, that's what I've dubbed it. But
Yeah.
I really liked that movie.
Okay, I thought it was good. It was a very interesting rendition on something that was originally very short and a silent film.
Yeah.
And
I thought
also
it was very interesting.
And also was almost lost media. Because it was an unofficial, like, think about it, in the 20s, it was an unofficial parody of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And his widow is like, nah, not having it, because I think it's a German film originally, somewhere in Europe. And so it almost got scrubbed entirely from the world. Like, Nosferatu almost became like,
I think I knew that.
like it almost became lost media, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but someone found a cut somewhere, and they spent a bunch of time like going back and like going through it, trying to remaster a film from over 100 years ago at this point.
Jeez.
Interesting.
But I mean, talk about Nosferatu, film culture that became pop culture. Nosferatu, when was the first time any of us were introduced to it? I can almost guarantee it was that episode of SpongeBob.
Yep.
Nosferatu. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
like their weird live action shot that they include
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
often.
Like, we would have no frame of reference for what Nosferatu was
No.
outside of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
But
then...
that was just ingrained into our memories
Yeah.
when we were children.
Because I remember when the movie was first announced, I was like, oh yeah, from SpongeBob. And then it ended up being like a really good period piece of like the traditional folklore rendition of what a vampire is. It's not this hot like pale dude
with a black slick back.
a black slick black and like the big fangs and but he's suave and he can charm you. No, this is a guy, he's been dead for hundreds of years. He's actively rotting. His teeth are all just barbs at this point. He's got fucking fanged pointed ears.
Yes.
Ugly mother. But because he's this unnatural creature of the night, he just pulls people in because he can.
Yeah.
It's part of his power set.
When I imagine like the modern rendition of what Dracula or Nosferatu is supposed to look like, I think of this guy named Andy Biersack. You have to clip this, a picture of Andy Biersack. He's the vocalist of Black Veil Brides, this band. I think he looks like a vampire.
Heck yeah.
Like a seductive vampire. Off topic, but
That's funny. That's funny.
But yeah, no, there's lots of cool things that you learn, even from kids shows, like SpongeBob. And it's not a kids show, but I learned a lot about things that I had no idea about from Family Guy, from like Adult Swim shows or like
Yeah.
shows like Family Guy.
Well, 'cause, I mean, you could talk about how Family Guy is just Seth MacFarlane being like, here's my special interest.
There you go.
What is he not specially interested in?
I know, right?
Exactly.
He likes all this old media, and he puts it into Family Guy and new media. Well, when he was writing it, I know he hasn't written it in a number of years.
Oh, is he
now.
not?
No, he hasn't. Seth MacFarlane hasn't been writing for any of his shows for a number of years.
He just
now.
voices it?
He just voices.
Oh,
And
I
I
didn't
mean-
know that. They do a great job of mimicking his writing.
I mean, fart joke cut away next scene.
Yeah.
But I digress. But listen, it's simple, it's stupid, but it's fun, and I enjoy it. So it's
That was a great description. Fart joke cut away next scene. Yeah,
so like
basically.
so yeah, it's
Hit Meg. Cut away next scene.
poop on Meg.
That is a majority of their episodes just hate on that specific character, and I think that like I truly think that some shows like that were like the very first iterations of brain rot that we ever got.
Oh, for sure.
It's like, oh man, this is terrible, and I shouldn't want to watch this, but I have to.
Oh yeah,
I feel
then
like I have to.
and then you get to like South Park
Mm.
and pushing the envelope.
Some of the
See-
best humor that's that stood the test of time.
Yeah, 'cause it's so stupid and outlandish that it just works.
It just works.
What
It just works.
What are we talking about? Movies?
Yeah, we're talking about media, film media.
Yeah, at this point. And I mean, and all those shows have had, well, aside from Family Guy, they've had movies. The Simpsons,
Does
South
Family Guy
Park.
not have a movie? They haven't had a movie.
I'm sure they've had specials, but I don't know if they've had a movie.
That's true. Yeah,
In the
Simpsons
sense
movie.
that, like, the other Fox adult animation shows, The Simpsons have had a movie, Bob's Burgers has had a movie. It's not Fox, but South Park has had several specials and movies. I don't think
They've had
Family
video
Guy-
games.
And video games. Oh my god, the video games.
The video games.
Those video games are
I love
fantastic.
the South
I never
Park
played
video
them.
games.
I would highly recommend them
Nice.
if you can find the time in your busy schedule.
Yeah,
You know, when we're not recording Thaw Jar.
Yeah, for real. My God. Yeah, we just do this all the time, as you can
love
tell
it.
by our frequent output schedule.
Yeah.
We put out new episodes all the
yeah.
time.
But hey, listen,
I feel like it was a good episode today.
the loyal jarheads, they're hungry, they're waiting, and they're always ready for
Yeah,
more,
we
so
just this one we kind of just decided we'd just talk about something and see if it made sense.
we
Probably won't, but
keep the beasts back a little bit while we can throw together a little bit better of an episode. but to try to put a little bow on this, movies super impactful since I was a kid. I mean, the drive-in in Gibson City, saw a lot of the Disney Pixars over there, and then I had a couple summer vacations where it was let's go see a movie, let's XYZ, to seeing the last Star Wars movie, Rise of Skywalker, seeing that as a group after my first semester of college. It's those things that I carry and I keep with me, and they are really fond memories, and all of them have to do with movies and movie theaters. And
totally agree. I remember when we saw that movie.
I just remember Babu Freak. He was the best.
Babu Frick, and the fact that
Babu Frick, yeah.
I could not stop coughing, and I 100% probably had COVID because it was it was
Yikes.
December 2019. And I
Yep.
remember thinking, man, I can't stop coughing. And then 3 months later, the world was like, hey, there's this big disease. We should shut down everything.
Yep,
Yikes.
yep. I think I had a fungal infection in my lungs that time.
Oh, jeez.
First semester of college was crazy.
Like
Yeah.
mushroom fungus?
Like black mold on air vents in my dorm room fungus.
gross.
Yeah, it was not fun.
What dorm again? Is that Wadi?
No, it was one in Tri Towers.
Oh.
Dang.
Yep.
Damn. Who
Yeah.
would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thunk?
Gross.
But yeah, movies, mold and movies.
Mold and movies. There's your title. Dune. Mold movies. Dune. There's your title for the episode.
Next episode, we should just talk about Dune.
Just Dune. I still haven't seen either of the movies.
Dude.
Really?
We
Oh
should,
man,
we should do a blind watch party with
That's it.
James.
100%.
Yeah, here's the last thing I'll say about movies. In my adulthood, the number of times someone's been like, "You've seen this movie, right?" And I've been like, "No."
There's so many movies.
it keeps happening, and they're like, "What do you mean you haven't seen this movie?" And I was like, "Movies weren't my media when I was a kid."
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like I did other things.
I feel like as an adult, music has become my media, and I'm even still so behind on most popular like pop R&B. I do not listen to that at all.
like we went to the drive through up north. It's in Sterling, Illinois. It's very similar to the Harvest Moon, but and they do this thing every year. They call it Dusk Till Dawn. They do movies the second it gets dark, and up until like 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
That's crazy.
It was awesome. I drove. That part was miserable, but the other part was fine.
That's awesome.
And
when did they do that?
August.
Okay.
August.
Dang.
But it's a horror movie marathon too.
That's
so when we
nice.
went, it was Friday the 13th, not Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, but they got a copy of the original 35 millimeter.
Oh, that's so
And they
cool.
brought out the original camera for it. So in the movie, the grain was showing. I was like, this is really cool because
That's
it's how
super sick.
audiences would have seen it back when it first came out.
That's cool.
And then the other movies,
That is really cool.
I think it was Phantasm, the original Piranha, and then some, I don't even remember the name of the movie, some train movie with the lady from Halloween.
Laurie Strode?
Yes,
like her character?
Yeah, the person who played her.
Okay, I don't know.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
It was
that's what it is.
some B movie she did on a train. People are getting murdered. Yada yada.
The B movie.
Yeah, the B movie.
They
Seinfeld
also
was
showed
there.
the B movie at the
They
end.
also they were like, you know, a palate cleanser, if you will.
Right.
Sun was rising.
It's
you know,
like the soda water after you've had an abrasive meal.
exactly.
That's
Exactly.
Cool.
But-
Well, yeah, I think that'll wrap it up for today. If you guys want to follow us on any of our social media, we're on Instagram and TikTok. And this is produced and uploaded on Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all she gave her.
Stay
Yeah.
curious, stay moldy,
Keep
stay
putting the
whimsical.
keep putting the thoughts in the jars and
Keep watching movies and
keep watching movies. Yeah.
Keep educating yourselves.
Oh yeah.
stay informed. Stay new to your pets. Have a good one.
Patrick says bye.
Bye, Patrick.